Hey everybody, and welcome to another episode of Grassroots Racer. Tonight I finally get to speak to a driver who's competing in the Hyundai XL category, which is a very popular grassroots category, and he's also done karting prior to this. So to find out more, a big welcome to Antonio Molluso from Molluso Motorsports team. So how are you tonight, Antonio?
Yeah, I'm very good. Thanks.
And like I mentioned to you at the start, to the viewers, you started out in karts. So how did you get started?
Yeah, so we firstly went to our local hire kart track, which at the time was Karting Madness, just in Churnside Park there. And we went racing every Thursday night. They had a league competition and they do a 5-minute qualifying and 20-lap race. And that's how we first started getting into the go-karts. And yeah, we did really well in the indoor scene, and we thought we'd start trying outdoor, and we from there bought our own go-kart and started competing across Australia.
What was your main club when you moved into sprint karting, and did you have a favourite track?
Yeah, so we joined Todd Road go-kart track in Port Melbourne, and our favourite karting track was Oakley. We had great success there. 2 podium finishes, and on our second race we got a podium finish. So yeah, we had great success there, and that's probably my favourite track, Oakley. It's a technical track, and a lot of people say if you can do well there and you can master that track, you can master a lot of other kart tracks. So yeah.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you there, and there's a couple other tracks there that I believe you do have to master before you can pretty much drive any track with confidence. So like some tracks like here in Bendigo, very difficult because of the bumps. Same with Oakley, to be fair.
Well, because it's built on a tip, the track is really bumpy and it's hard. It's hard on the body, really hard on the body, to get over the bumps and concentrate on the actual racing. It's not easy.
Yeah, I either was struggling with neck pain when I was racing there because I was really young when I used to race there. And then I also, when I wasn't struggling with neck pain, I was involved in crashes. So Oakley was not my favourite track.
No, it doesn't sound like it.
What brand of kart did you have when you were racing?
So we started with a second-hand FK kart. We picked it up in a bit away from us, and then we kept with FK for quite a few years. So then we bought a brand new one off Pro Karting, and we stayed with them for 1 or 2 years, and then we went to FA kart, so a Tony kart. And we finished off our go-karting career with that type of kart. Yeah.
Did you compete in any state series or do any national events?
Yeah, so we started just our local club days, and then from there we went to the state series, and it was actually quite a short time we were in karting. So we were in karting for about 3-4 years, but we went straight from club and state to national series. So we did 1 year of club racing and then 2 years of complete national series. And we did quite well. Our best finish was second place in Australian Kart Championship, which at the time we were really happy with. We were doing it all ourselves, travelling in our little trailer around Australia and to compete with some of the big names and do well. It was great.
Yeah, I can relate, but we didn't get to travel across Australia. We only got to do the Todd Road round, sorry.
Yeah.
And yeah, like we were there in our small trailer and we got parked behind the big, I think it was the mini rock truck or something, and it was they were selling tyres there. So yeah, we were definitely the smaller ones, and obviously there was like the Sarah team, there was Pro Karting, DPE, so a lot of competitors to go up against.
Yeah. It's very intimidating when you go there, and for the first time especially, and all these big trailers, big teams, and big name drivers. There's best in Australia, and it's not easy. But if you keep focused and you focus on what you're doing and not worry too much about them, then you see the results come.
Yeah, 100%. I have to agree with you. And How long has Molluso Motorsports been around for?
So I started Molluso Motorsports in 2017. We started racing in 2016, but then I started doing it professionally in 2017. So yeah, it's been around for quite a few years now, and it's gone through some struggles through COVID and time away from racing due to COVID. So it's been hard, but we've kept on our feet and we've kept some of our great partners and sponsors with us through them times, which is always great. Yeah.
Yeah, I have to agree. It was definitely hard when we were hit, and
Yep.
It is really great of especially my partners and sponsors staying around with us. Obviously, they were struggling, and we tried helping as best as possible by giving back to them.
Yes.
But when did you make the transition into XLs, and what attracted you?
Yeah, so it was in 2019, right when COVID hit. We went from karting to XLs, which was probably a good thing because we didn't waste more time in karts while we weren't racing. We sort of made the change, bought a car, and we competed in one race in 2019, the first round of the state series, before the COVID. But that got us a chance to re-look at the car that we bought and fix it up for the end of the year where we came back racing. What attracted us to the XL series was just the cost-effective way of racing. You could pick up a car, they were quite available at the time and at a good price, and you could get circuit racing in a tin top race car very, very easily.
And do you find the XL racing pretty competitive?
Yeah, well, there's 45 to 50 drivers that turn up at a time, so you got to be on your best efforts when you're out at the track. I think there's over 200 registered XL races just in Victoria. So, and some of the best come down to race XLs. We've seen that, like Ashley Shule Motorsport, a few of the Kelly guys have got into the XLs, and Triple Eight are even building cars now. So it's really, really competitive. And because all the cars are very, very similar, there's a certain rules that you have to follow. It's great, and it's good racing.
Now, I know I ask this question a lot, but did you find it hard to learn manual when you first jumped into an XL or not?
Well, I started, because we live on a bit of a property, I live on a bit of a farm out here in the Yarra Valley. I started driving manual when I was about 6 or 7 years old, so I was really capable of doing that. And it did help a lot because as soon as I jumped in the car, I didn't have to learn how to drive manual. I was just focusing on the lines and focusing on how to drive a front-wheel drive car, especially in the XLs. It's a little bit different to the go-karts where it's rear-wheel drive. But as far as manuals goes, I was very capable as soon as I jumped in.
Yeah, well, it's obviously good when you got a big property and you can do a bit of training. It obviously helps you learn the skills prior to jumping in the car, so you can be on your A game straight away. What tracks have you been to so far in the Hyundai?
So we've raced at all the major tracks in Victoria, Winton, Sandown and Phillip Island. We haven't done any interstate as yet, but we are looking maybe towards the end of the year when they do the national championship. We might see if we can get to that event. But yeah, all the major tracks in Victoria. My favourite's probably Phillip Island. It's really fast and it's a state-of-the-art track. The first time we went there, you can just see how great of a track it is. The facilities are awesome, and especially when you're driving, you can see the beach down there. It's really cool, really cool track.
What speeds do you do next XL at the end of the Phillip Island straight?
At the end of Phillip Island, it's just under 200. I think they're about 190, 180, 190. Sometimes in the draft you can get close to that 200. So yeah, it's pretty fast in a little front-wheel drive XL. It's pretty cool.
I mean, yeah, we can hit 200 if you got a double tie, I think, but yeah, it's insane to see when you compare a Formula V to a.
Yeah.
But then again, Formula V is just a tiny Volkswagen Beetle engine. put into a
Well, exactly.
race
Yeah.
car. But obviously, like the XLs, I guess you are allowed to change a couple of things to make it go a little bit faster. Or,
Yeah. Just a little.
so what can you change? Can you change any internal?
As far as engine goes, there's not much you can do. Like you can bore it out to the maximum diameter, but really it's not much off factory. It's just so when you do a set of piston and rings, you can make the size of the piston. As far as head goes, there's not a lot of work you can do to the cylinder head to make it flow better. Really, it's just finding a factory one that flows the best. Exhaust, what you can do is from the manifold back, you can design whatever you want. So we've designed a perfectly tuned exhaust to make the most horsepower out of the engine, which you can find a lot from the exhaust. The intake also, you can change the intake ducting to make the maximum horsepower, and you really want to try to put it in a cool spot of the engine bay to get as much cool air as possible, and that helps when you're racing. So colder air makes more horsepower, colder, denser air. But that's as far as engine performance, and then you've got just trying to make the car as light as possible, being close to that minimum weight, which is 1,000 kilos on every XL race car, and yeah, making everything spin freely so you have no friction and less roll resistance. Makes the fastest XL race car. Yeah.
So this is a pretty random question I just thought of. Some categories in the state series and national series use a full slick tire or a full wet tire. Do you guys run semi-slicks or full slicks?
We run the same tire, so in wet and dry. It's called a Federal RSR 595. I think it's 195 by 50 profile. So what you do in the dry is you run them down quite low. So they're almost like a slick. You still need to have some tread on them so they comply to the rules, but you run them down as low as possible. And in the wet, we just changed to a more of a newer set, so there's a lot more tread depth and can disperse the water easily. But no, as far as the tyres go, there's no slicks. You just gotta do the best you can on the tyres they give you. Yeah.
Have you been involved in any incidents or crashes yet?
Yeah, well, unfortunately, last year we had a pretty of a major incident. We were in the enduro race of I think it was the last year enduro race. I wasn't in the car, I was getting ready to go in the car because the co-driver was in it. It wasn't his fault, but someone just came down and clipped the side of the car, and unfortunately it was a write-off. It really wrecked the side of the car. So I had to reshell the car. I did that over the Christmas period, just here in our workshop. And yeah, that was probably the worst incident, but the driver was okay, he just had a sore hand, but it was unfortunate. It made it all right for me because I got to rebuild a new race car and to build it the way I wanted to build it. The previous one we bought and this one we built. So it was a pretty cool experience building a race car. You don't want to do it all the time, but it's a good thing to learn how to do.
So you said that you obviously rebuilt it. So do you do much of the work yourself, or do you have a crew help you as well?
Yeah, so I'm a qualified mechanic myself. I qualified last year. So, and I used my dad's workshop to work on my race car. So I do all the work myself. My dad helps me a little bit, but mainly me. So we've built the engine, we've set the car up, scaled the car, put all the brand new suspension in that this year we're running. And yeah, pretty much when the car was a write-off, I built it up from scratch.
Yeah, so let's talk about this year. How's your season gone so far?
So this year we've done quite well. We're very happy. Our goal is to get a podium. First race we've finished in 10th position, and we're really happy with that. Just to to come out and bring a brand new car to the racetrack with new suspension, all new gear, something that I built over the off season, and to finish in 10th spot out of, I think there was 35 cars that competed that day. We were really happy with that. And second race, we finished 5th spot at Winton for round 2 of the Victorian State Championship. And that's getting closer to our goal. Winton's a great track because it's so many corners, and it's a track where it shows the driver a lot as well. And that's why we did really well there, finished 5th spot. So yeah, we're very happy with that. The last race, we're on to finish in a 7th spot at Filippin. We had a clutch issue though, and it just stopped us from finishing the race. So we had a DNF there. But it's looking good. We're on track to getting our goal of getting a podium position. So I think if we play our cards right, fix up what we need to fix up, and we'll be right there at the next round.
And where's your end goal? Where would you like to be one day?
Well, I'd love to be a professional racing driver, maybe in the supercar series. I've got a long way to go, but it's obviously not an easy road to go down, but I'm giving it the best shot I got and trying to build a network through my racing.
Yeah, you're obviously doing a very good job so far. You've made it clear what your goals are for this year, and it'd be good to see you move forward and hopefully end up in the Supercars Championship. And have you got an ideal team you'd like to race for?
Well, probably at the moment, Wilkinshaw and Andretti. I like that team. They go about it really, really professional, and it's a worldwide team at the moment, which is cool. So it can really take you anywhere. If you do well in the Supercar series, they might pick you up and take you somewhere else, which is very, very cool. So there's opportunities everywhere.
We all know that you help out your sponsors, and obviously I also help out my sponsors, and that's what keeps us on track. So have you got anyone you'd like to thank? Yeah,
well, I'd like to thank Burson's Auto Parts. They've been a partner of us for a number of years now, and they've come along and been supporting a grassroots racer, which is great. And that's what they're doing now. They're supporting a lot of grassroots racers, and they're doing a great job at it. I would also like to thank REDARC Electronics, Valvoline, and Jnr Trucking. They've been great supporters of ours since the start, and they're always willing to give, and they're helping me build my career in motorsport. But yeah, two sisters, and they help me a lot with the racing. They do a lot of my social media, which is great because I'm not 100% the best at it, and they take on a lot of it, which is great. And they're both very supportive in my racing.
If people would like to see where you're up to with your racing, what are your social media platforms that they can find you on?
Yeah, so we're on Instagram and Facebook. If you just search up Molluso Motorsports, you'll find us there. And we're always posting and doing activations with our sponsors. We just did a REDARC raffle, and you could win a $1,400 solar blanket. So yeah, definitely get on Molluso Motorsports and check it out on Facebook and Instagram.
All right, guys. So now you know where to follow Antonio, and I really do appreciate you speaking to me tonight. And I wish you all the best for the rest of the season and your future endeavours.
Thank you very much. Wish you all the best too.
Thank you. I'm sure I'll see you around the track sometime. I think Sandown's the next round we'll see each other. And for anyone else racing this weekend, make sure you drive fast and take chances, safely of course. Thanks, Antonio.
See you later.